education, the foundations of dementia, those kinds of things. We can do those again. I think it would be totally fine to repeat those, even if from a different angle. Well, welcome. If we've not met officially yet, I'm Mary, and I'm part of Dementia Life St. Louis. And we're a 501c3 nonprofit really dedicated to a vision that every person with dementia is loved and that every caregiver is supported throughout the journey. And it's so interesting because, and I've told this story before, but I have a daughter she's approaching 30 now. But when she was 10, she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And our whole world changed overnight. But we left the hospital with, here's your appointment with the dietitian, here's your appointment with the counselor, here's your appointment with the educator, here is a mountain of tools to know how to do this. We couldn't even leave the hospital until I could, in front of them, give her a shot in her abdomen of insulin, because they wanted to make sure that I knew what to do. So many times with dementia, you get a diagnosis and you don't always leave with some of those practical tools of what you need to expect, what you need to be able to do, what you need to know. So we're here to really kind of help fill in that gap as much as we possibly can. Another thing we do is take volunteers into memory care settings to do fun things, baking and bingo and pets and music and Bible study and all kinds of stuff. Today, we are talking about how to respond to dementia-related behaviors. Who would agree with me that this is probably the most difficult piece of the journey? Yeah, absolutely the most difficult piece. This is also probably a topic that's so near and dear to my heart because I feel like there are ways we can respond in the moment that's going to make things so much easier. And there are things we can also do to prevent. We'll never completely prevent dementia behaviors from happening, but there are things we can do to minimize the likelihood. So today we're going to talk about why those behaviors happen, how to respond in the moment, and then things that we can do to prevent behaviors as much as we can. Why behaviors feel so challenging, they can really feel personal. I've been in this field for some years now, and I will say, caring for individuals professionally was completely different than caring for my parents when they were ill. It was 100% different. Even though I knew in my head, I had this knowledge of dementia and what's going on, there were moments, I remember with my dad, where I thought to myself, I had a fleeting thought, he is doing this on purpose. Because you have a history with the person. You have those little pins that your body has put in situations that are triggers, things like that. So they can feel really, really personal. The person you love is very different. Very, very different. Maybe somebody that you relied on tremendously. Now they're extremely different. And you might feel as a caregiver very frustrated, which is absolutely normal and okay. Helpless, exhausted, those are all normal feelings, and they don't mean that you're failing. It doesn't mean that you're not doing a fantastic job. It's just dementia's changing the dynamic. So when I say dementia behaviors, and I'll say this, that word behaviors is not my favorite word at all. It's truly not, because it can imply that the person is choosing to behave badly. Right? I like to think of them as behavioral expressions, that person expressing themselves. But for the sake of clinical context, who would say that they have experienced or witnessed these behaviors? Somebody wandering, I gotta go, I gotta get out of here, I got all of that. Oh yeah, repetition, saying the same thing over and over again, asking the same questions. Somebody who is angry or even maybe seems aggressive. Fear and anxiety. We've probably all witnessed this. Suspicion, believing things that aren't happening, seeing things that aren't there. And then I think one of the most challenging dementia-related behaviors, resistance to personal care. So that could be bathing, that could be oral care, that could be restroom needs, even eating, hydration, where we're doing everything we can And that person is still saying, no, no, no. So why do behaviors happen? I am in the camp of, even though we're not going to become neurologists, I think it's important to understand what's happening in the brain. Because when you can understand a little piece of why, it starts to make things make sense a little bit more. So to review from before, when I talk about dementia, when I say dementia, I'm not saying a certain disease, that dementia is the certain disease. It's the umbrella term for symptoms. Memory loss that affects daily life, other thinking abilities, communication challenges, all of those things that affect the person's ability to function well in daily life and safety. Under that big umbrella of dementia, there's Alzheimer's disease, Lewy body dementia, vascular, frontotemporal, many, many others. But what they all have in common, dementia is caused by damage to the brain cells. So in a healthy human brain, millions and millions of cells that branch out to other cells every time the heart pumps, it takes oxygen, nutrients, all those things. The cells send out messages. A healthy human brain is absolutely fascinating. In a brain with dementia, something's damaging those cells or damaging that process. So you can see up on the right here, healthy cells functioning in a good, healthy way. You can see on the left, for this example, Alzheimer's, where these proteins, these excess proteins are damaging the cells. So really dementia is brain cell damage, brain cell death over time. So you can see on the right here, a brain with Alzheimer's. On the left, you see a normal healthy brain. What's the difference y'all see between those two brains? Yeah, shrinkage, size, gaps in. It's really, really just astounding what happens. And the thing with it is this, we tend to think of dementia, or I always did, as just memory loss. But it really, over time, affects the whole brain. And different parts of the brain do different things. And some of those things that are changing are why behaviors happen. So some of the brain changes that cause or contribute to challenging behaviors. Memory. The person with dementia, so you think about this, if this were us, the person with dementia may not remember recent events, what happened this morning, what we just told them 5 minutes ago, what happened last week. They may not remember important people or caregivers, who they are. They may not have context for what is happening. So you think about that, not having context for why this person is trying to get them into a shower, not having context for why they need to take this medication. The person with dementia may also be in a very different place on their timeline. So you think about that. We go from, as people, we're born. We grow, we mature, we develop skills and abilities, we develop social skills, all of those things. Somebody with dementia moves backwards on that timeline. So they can move backwards on skills and abilities. They can also move backwards on where they are. So you think about that. I may begin my dementia journey and I'm 80 years old. But as dementia progresses, I may more be in a reality that's very real to me that I am 60. And I don't know why you say that I live here. My house is on Elm Street. I don't know what you're talking about, because the reality is this timeline. They may be 40 and they may have kids getting off the bus, middle school kids. They say, I gotta get out of here, because that is their reality. They may be 20. They may be, as one of my sweet residents I talked about last time, she calls me mama, because I look like her family. So, in addition to the memory, the person with dementia could be in a very different time on reality. Changes in the brain also affect communication. They affect the ability of the person to understand what's being said to them and to express themselves. We can all identify, I have a headache, and speak, I have a headache. Somebody with dementia loses that ability. So they may feel pain, distress, all of those things, and they can't use their words to describe it or even tell us something's wrong. In addition, somebody with dementia loses 1 to 2 out of every word spoken to them, typically. Everybody's different, but typically. So you think of a sentence that we say to somebody with dementia, and this word's gone, this word's gone, this word's gone, this word's gone. That sentence no longer makes any sense. And all of that, I think we would all agree, even if this were us, would affect how we behave. The brain, yeah.
Could you speak up a little louder, maybe just about
Oh, absolutely. Is this better? Okay, I will definitely try to talk a little louder. Thank you. Thank you. The brain also affects judgment, the ability to be reasonable, the ability to look at a situation and interpret it correctly and be logical about it. Somebody with dementia, they lose access to logic, to reasoning. Typically, their brain's no longer able to do that. The brain affects how the person with dementia perceives input to their 5 senses, right? Touch, sound, temperature, the things that they hear. So an environment that has a lot of input happening is going to be really difficult for somebody with dementia, and that also affects behavior. And then impulse control, this frontal lobe of the brain. Somebody with dementia, they lose the ability to have a regulator of their behavior, right? They think it, they say it. I think we were talking about that earlier, when somebody they think it, they say it, they feel it, they do it, right? We all as human beings have moments when we're very aggravated, very angry, do not like something, and we may want to say things or be very angry. But we have a filter that says, don't do that. Don't say that out loud, it's gonna get you in trouble. Somebody with dementia, they don't have that filter. So they may act in ways that are very emotional, that don't seem to fit the situation. In addition, we have all throughout our lives experienced trauma to one degree or another. You know, we all have stories, we all have history, we all have those things. Over time, we learn to cope. We learn coping mechanisms, whether through therapy, community, faith, maybe some pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We all learn ways to cope. Somebody with dementia, as they move backwards on their timeline, the brain loses access to those coping skills. So a face, a sound, a smell, many things can trigger a trauma that they experience in their life that we may be completely unaware of. But it's triggered and they don't have the coping skills anymore to keep that pushed down. The part of the brain that typically is not damaged, that sometimes is a lot stronger, is the amygdala. Who's familiar with the amygdala in the brain? It is the part of the brain that is like our danger sensor, our protector. It's our fight, flight, fright. And many times when somebody with dementia, their brain can't make sense of a situation, it defaults to that. Something is wrong, I am not safe. Who would say that individuals that you've interacted with dementia, that seems to happen a lot? Their default is, if they can't find their purse, well, somebody must have
Dolan.
Yeah, exactly. I don't recognize this person who's trying to get me to take a pill. They must be trying to
Poison.
Yeah, you all said that really quickly. I'm guessing that has happened. And it's truly their brain defaulting to something that they don't understand. So I think a key truth in this is challenging behaviors are communication. They are a way of that person showing a need, confusion that they cannot express with words. I'm a big fan of reframing. In my mind, it helps me so much. And for me, I try to reframe imperfectly, but I try to reframe when somebody with dementia is having a challenging behavior. They're not misbehaving. They're not acting out. They are trying to tell me something's wrong. And I want to be a detective and figure out why. So, how to respond to behaviors with compassion. And I also call this being a dementia detective. Who here can tell me a favorite detective or mystery show you have on TV? Or had? Grantchester? Oh, I've not seen that. I'll have to watch it. Oh, that's
Yes.
Oh, I love
It's
it.
wonderful.
Is it? Oh, well, I know what I'm going to watch
This
this
was their
weekend.
11th film last.
That's awesome.
It's great.
Anybody else? Favorite detective show?
Matlock.
The new one or the old one? Or both?
I don't.
Okay, watch the new one too. It's my favorite. On these detective shows, they are digging into every possible clue, trying to figure out the reason behind it. And so that's how I would encourage all of us to approach today. So how to respond. Number one, and if anybody's taking notes, feel free to take notes on these steps. Know your goal. There's a Stephen Covey book that there's a chapter, Begin with the End in Mind. And it's such an important concept. It's going, what is my goal in this interaction? And Bill, would you be my person, or do you want to be my person? Somebody?
Sure. Either
Max,
or.
you can
Okay.
do this
Step up there.
Okay, actually bring a chair with you, because you might be up here for a little bit.
one.
I know your first name in my brain. Oh, okay, thank you. So, turn it actually so you're facing me. Yep, that's perfect. So for the sake of these next few steps, Max is living with middle stage dementia. Okay, so that's our reality. Max is living with middle stage dementia. And let's say that Max tends to be easily agitated. He tends to be easily agitated. So I'm going to have an interaction with Max, who is already agitated. So I'm coming to, quote unquote, de-escalate his behavior, right? So I am going to pause and remind myself of my goal. In dementia care, I am in it for the long game, right? It's not as much about this moment, which is valuable, but I'm also in it for the long-term goal that Max trusts me as his caregiver. And so my goal with him is to constantly build trust upon trust. So my goal with Max is that he feels safe, accepted, loved, valued. So it makes me pause and go, how in this interaction can I make him feel that way? Safe, accepted, loved, valued. Now let's say I still need Max to bathe or shower. Yes, that's my goal. But I want him to feel safe, accepted, loved, valued enough to consent to care. Because every interaction, every single one, I promise you, is an opportunity to build trust. Who would say that they believe somebody with dementia, despite changes to the brain, can still form relationships and build trust? Who would agree with that statement? They can still form relationships and build trust. They may not remember who we are because logic, short-term memory is gone, but they remember how we make them feel, and they can associate us with feelings, good or bad. So I'm not going to ruin this one interaction and cause Max to not trust me. The second thing is manage your own mindset. So I know my goal is that he feels safe and accepted. My mindset is that whatever he's doing is not intentional. It's not intentional. As hard as that is, and that is so hard. Again, I've never lost patience with the resident, but oh, my own dad, oof. But it's not intentional. It's communication of a need. And when you're responding to a quote-unquote behavior, I always ask myself, do I even need to address this? I'm sure everybody's heard the term, pick your battles, right? Pick your battles. And so I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, and she's autistic. And she said, it doesn't say much actually, but she does things all day long. And I could be correcting her all day long if that were my goal. It's just constantly. I always say, when it comes to dementia, I ask myself 2 things with behaviors. Is the person a threat to themselves, or are they a danger to others?
Right. That's the standard.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And
what
if
is the
they're,
legal standard, yeah.
and if they're not, somebody with dementia might be doing this on a table all day. Are they really in danger? Are they really in danger? It's easy to go, stop it, stop it, stop it, that's annoying. Or could I just put a pillow over it so it's not as loud? So really going, do I even need to address this? The third thing is, and this one is difficult, staying calm. Surely every single one of us in here have gotten into an argument with someone, not even somebody with dementia, but someone at any point in time, right? I used to be so much of a hothead when I was younger. And with arguments, it's like the person goes here and we meet them there. And then they go higher, and then we go higher, and they go higher, and we go higher. And all of a sudden it's this thing. I think it's so important with somebody with dementia that we remain calm. Even if it means stepping out of it for a minute, taking a deep breath, and coming back in. But by us remaining calm, we have a better chance of keeping it here. The fourth thing is, my response to Max so far has pretty much all been here, right? My goal, my mindset, all of that. Now I'm going to actually physically approach Max. And let's say he's agitated, right? And we went through positive physical approach in another class, but we're going to do it again because it totally applies with behaviors. So everybody, we're going to go through this visual exercise of what vision is like in dementia. Hold your arms up to the sides. Everybody do this. Sorry, guys. You're stacked so well, though. That's really nice.
You're doing fine.
And bring your hands in until you can see your fingers wiggling out of the corner of your eye without turning your head. For me, it's kind of, wow, this mine's narrow. Yeah. And then make a circle. Yeah. That's your visual field. It's huge. For somebody with dementia, due to changes in the brain, that visual field narrows. So bring your hands into this and make a circle. That is typically the visual field of somebody in early stage dementia. So they're not seeing to the side, they're really seeing what's in front of them. So go ahead and make a scuba mask and put it over your eyes. And look around. And see kind of what you don't see, right? Middle stage takes it down even further. So take it down to binoculars and look around. Now late stage, cover one eye and put a binocular over the other and look around. That is typically the visual field of somebody in late stage dementia. So that is going to hugely impact how I approach, well, anybody with dementia, but for sure Max, because he already is agitated and struggling. So go ahead and put your binoculars on Max, because you're middle stage dementia. So I'm not going to approach him from behind where he can't see me. I'm not going to come here where he can't see me, because if I touch him and he doesn't know me or didn't see me coming, I might trigger that fight, flight, fret, right? And if he's already agitated, I'm just going to cause that reaction again. So I'm going to pause about double arms length. Yeah, go ahead and put double arms length apart from Max. Why I'm stopping? Again, he's having a challenging behavior. I want to keep him being his best self as possible, and I want to keep myself safe. So go ahead and try to hit me. Go ahead and try to kick me. I'm not going into his space, so I'm keeping my, and that may seem a little silly, but how many times do we try to go and calm down, calm down, calm down, and the person, we trigger them. Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna pause, and I'm gonna say his name. Hi, Max. Get his attention. Make sure that he can see me, right? That he's connected with me before I ever even think about touching him. Right? And I'm going to hold out my hand, hey. And I'm going to let him truck me, and I'm going to get at or below his eye level. Because again, my goal is that he feels safe, right? Especially when I'm trying to manage a challenging behavior. Now, if I'm standing over you, how does that feel?
It was a little more intimidating.
more intimidating, right? Here,
Who would have thought?
oh, it's made, I'm telling you, this makes all the difference in the world. In the world. The other thing I did, as I came in, I took this handshake and I made it so his hand is on top of mine. Again, that's that subconscious, he feels more control. What if I do this? What does that feel like?
It's more like you're holding it versus.
Oh, yeah, like I'm holding his hand, right? Yeah, so all of this is so that he feels in control. Because when you feel more in control of a situation, you're apt to be calmer. The other thing that's so important is body language and tone matter so much. I think sometimes it's easy to assume because somebody with dementia, they have a pretty big level of unawareness in a lot of things, right? Probably unaware of the day of the week, the date of the year, so many things. We tend to then think they're unaware of everything and that they're just there. Well, it doesn't matter how I talk to them. It doesn't matter if this is playing on TV. It doesn't matter if this is that. They don't know any different. I promise you, not the case, not the case. In fact, somebody with dementia is typically more aware of body language and tone of voice. I'll show you what I mean. So, if I say to Max, I don't want to deal with him today. Max, it's time to take your medicine. What message did I give Max?
You're not happy to be doing it.
No, exactly. I'm not happy to be doing it. Did I seem like I like you?
No.
That I'm your friend?
Unpleasant energy, like. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Unpleasant energy, because people with dementia, they pick up on energy.
Yeah.
Unpleasant energy, for sure. And let me ask you this. Would you take a pill from somebody who didn't want to be there, didn't like you, had unpleasant energy?
Wow.
No. I say this every time. My youngest is a paramedic. I won't take a pill from her. I double check it to make sure she knows exactly what she's giving me. I'm like, you put tinfoil in the microwave when you were 15. I am not taking it. So I'm going to say the same thing to Max in a different way. Hey, Max, it's time to take your medicine. What was my message to him? How did you feel?
Oh, it's a lot more inviting. I feel just instantly like less threatened. And,
Yeah, I'm on your side. Yeah.
yeah.
All this stuff matters so much more than what we say. I mean, I could almost say anything to Max because his processing is so challenged. I could say, there's squash bugs in my tomato plants. And he is just picking up on the vibe, right? So when I approach, I'm gonna make sure he feels in control. I don't trigger him. He can see me. All of those things. It can make all the difference in the world. Even if someone's not having a challenging behavior, that is how to approach every time. Every time. Because here's the crazy statistic. 60 to 65% of dementia behaviors are caused by caregivers. No, caused by caregivers. I mean all of us by caregivers. Anybody whose life, I include police, paramedics, everybody in that. Do we all mean well? Absolutely. Absolutely. But imagine if we adjusted to just do that. The third thing, or the fourth thing is agree and validate. So I'm going to approach Max in his visual field, use good body language. I also know going in, whatever he tells me, I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to roll with it. Because somebody with dementia, whether they're in a different place on their timeline, or they're suspicious of things that didn't happen, or they believe things that didn't happen, or they're seeing things that are not there, different dementias cause that for sure. I'm going to live in that reality. Because again, what's my goal? I want them to feel safe, accepted, loved, valued. And to do that, I got to be on his side. So whatever the reality is, I'm going to agree with it. I'm going to offer reassurance. I'm going to nod, yes, and that must be tough. Yes, and that will be scary. I'm with you. I'm sorry that happened. you're right, I'm on your side. Instead of scolding, arguing, shaming, or correcting. And this is one of the hardest things to do, right? It's so hard because it's unsettling. Who would say it's unsettling when you see, the first few times you see reality disorientation, it's like, oh, this is a little uncomfortable. This very much so. But agreeing and validating, and we'll have a whole other class in depth on that. That's a really good one. To that point, there's something that I call the art of being wrong on purpose. The art of being wrong on purpose. This is not easy. Let me preface it with this is not easy at all. However, my goal is that that person maintains a level of calm. And sometimes that means that they are right, I'm wrong. Yeah. Yeah, you've probably experienced this a little bit. Yeah, already in your few weeks for sure. For sure, Chris, right? Yeah. Yeah. And the thing of it is, it's kind of it's one of the most sacrificial acts of love I think we can do, whether you're a professional caregiver or a family caregiver. It's taking the being wrong on yourself so that they can live in calm. I have apologized to residents who are incontinent that I spilled water on them. I'm so sorry I spilled water in your pants. I'm so sorry. I'm really clumsy sometimes. Can I help you clean it up? Let's go. Versus saying, oh, Max, you had an accident. We're gonna take you get, right? I've apologized for spilling crumbs on the front of a resident because of this. I've apologized for misplacing their things. All that. Taking it on, being wrong on purpose with intention, knowing that this is my act of love. This is my act of love. Yeah.
I think part of it is just because it gets skewed with people feeling like I have to lie versus like I'm doing this out of it's the right thing in the moment. Like people aren't conditioned their whole lives to like your parent or so-and-so says something to you and like you have to know like, oh, don't respond like I normally would. Like you have to kind of train your brain to what do they call it? Like a like guilt
like a therapeutic.
Yes, therapeutic. Yeah, fit basically.
Yeah.
Which is like I remember when I started working here, it was more off-putting, and then after a while, like I could condition my brain to just kind of know to do that. But when people are new to it, I can totally see why it throws them off so much because it's just something you're not conditioned to do your whole life. You know?
Right. Well, and especially, thank you so much. Yeah, especially because my dad was a minister. And we do not lie. I was in the generation where you got your mouth washed out with soap, ivory bar soap. Yeah.
Quick story. Some people know this, but on Saturday it was so hot, and we had a resident who loves to be out in the sun, and they could not get him in. I guess they were trying. So this is Friday. So somebody from here called and said, "Is there any way you can come by and help?" And I brought my 6-year-old son. And I thought of this idea that we brought our bee suits. We do beekeeping. And we got there and we got called, there's bees out here, and he still wouldn't come in. And then we actually had to light the smoker, and we got it smoke. These bees, we got called, and that's what we had to do to get him to go inside. But the two interesting things is, one, it was about the regulation when you talked earlier, but then trying to explain to my 6-year-old how we had to use that to get him inside. But as soon as he said, yep, okay, I'll go inside, then it kind of went to distraction, because then he started, well, what grade are you in? And all this kind of stuff. But that was what we had to do, because this man, he just did not want to go in, and it was roasting. They brought water out and they just couldn't get it. But it was interesting trying to explain to a 6-year-old, this is why we didn't tell the truth. So it was interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even some new caregivers, it's hard if they haven't worked in the field before to understand that it's okay to do this. It's for their best interest.
Yes, and encourage it truly is. But I think that the hesitancy is sometimes a couple things. I shouldn't have to do this. You know, I mean, somebody might feel like, well, this is ridiculous, I shouldn't have to. Maybe, but this is the best way in dementia care. The second thing is, lying feels gross. it feels icky, right? Like when you do something that violates your conscience, you feel bad. That's just how, hopefully, that's how we are as human beings. And so I think we shy away from it because it feels very wrong, right? And where I landed on it, and it brought my heart so much peace, is that I am not lying. I'm agreeing that this is Max's truth. It's truth to him. It's real to him. And so I'm going to step into what's real to him and honor him and validate him. And it brought me so much peace. I'm not lying. This is your truth. I love you. I'm going to honor your truth. And then it became, oh, I know what to do. I mean, it really became a tool in my toolbox that was just so helpful. So, and it does get easier. I promise you, it does get easier. There's some things that I feel like we can change what we say. I don't want to call them dirty words, but in some ways, it'll be just make the journey easier to take these out of your vocabulary. And we've all used them, I've used them, we've all used them. So no judgment whatsoever. Calm down. When do we typically say calm down? When somebody is what? Yep. Yeah, absolutely. We're like, calm down, calm down, calm down. Now, again, I want Max to know that I'm on his side, right? When you tell somebody to calm down, how do they typically? It's almost like throwing a little gas on fire, right?
And just telling them to do something.
Right.
Nothing, you're bossing them.
Right.
If they could calm down, they would have calmed down. That's kind of the whole thing. It's
Right,
like,
they don't have the ability to self-regulate. So when we're asking them to do that, they can't do that, right? And also in some ways, it's insulting. It's insulting because who has ever had their significant other tell them to calm down when they were upset? Yeah. How did that work? I've said this before. I don't know whoever in the history of ever has calmed down from being told to calm down. No one. So instead, let's say Max is really upset. I'm sorry that happened. I am on your side. I'll help you. You're right. We'll fix this. Totally different thing, because calm down says you're wrong, you don't have a right to feel this way, da-da-da. The others, I'm here to help. Another one is stop it, don't do that, you can't do that. Now, I get there are many safety concerns all the time in a dementia setting, whether at home or in a care community. Absolutely. Our gut response when somebody is doing something that we're a little scared about is to stop it, don't do that. But again, that can feel like just one more scolding to the person with dementia who hears that all day long. And they probably feel like they live in a failure factory where they cannot do anything right. And that starts to wear on a person. So I often say, thank you for helping me. Let's try it this way. Let's do it together. Anytime you can give choice, it's incredible too. And choice might be as simple as, do you want to sit in this chair or this chair? It might seem to us like, well, why does it matter? Those two chairs are right next to each other. That doesn't even make a bit of difference. But for somebody with dementia who suddenly gets choice, that's empowering as heck. It feels so good. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm just checking this out of time. I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. Let's say, Chris, can I use you for, can you come up and be a part in our play? Let's give Chris a hand. He's new at the Dolan family. He's pretty awesome. So Max is living with dementia. Chris is also living with dementia for the sake of this story. And actually, stand up for just a second. We're going to move so that we're inside of the camera. All right. Okay, go ahead and sit, Max. Please, sorry. And Chris is living with dementia, and Chris has his whole life been somebody who loves to help people. Let's say he's 80 years old and he has just spent his whole life caring for folks. And he sees Max in a wheelchair, and he goes, his base response is help, right? So go and pretend you're going to be pushing Max's wheelchair. I, as a care partner with well intentions, because I love them both, I holler from across the room, which is a big number. I holler from across the room. Chris, no, keep going. No, Chris, no, don't do that. That's not, Chris, that's not your job. Chris, stop that. Okay, you can pause. right? So, by doing that, even though my intentions were good, right? I subtracted, I took away his dignity, I took away his sense of purpose, I scolded him, I did all of those things for somebody that was just trying to help. So, what I'm going to do is substitute something else instead of take it away. So go ahead and do that again. Let's run that again. So Houston, I see it. Chris, hey, hi, thank you. Thank you for your help. I don't know what we'd do without you around here. Would you come help me over here?
Yes.
I need your help. Let's go. Oh, let's give him a hand. That was awesome. That was awesome. You can sit down. That was awesome, Chris. Thank you. Thank you. So again, I've said thank you to things that do not make logical sense. I had a resident that would stand in front of the beverage dispenser and fill it with water and dump it on the floor. Just over and over and over. And I said, oh, thank you so much. Thank you for your help. And you go, well, that's not logical. No. But who doesn't feel flipping good when somebody says, thank you, we needed you? That feeling alone is better than any drug. It feels so good. It feels so good. The next one is, don't you remember I just told you that? And this is a hard one. Even if you said this morning, no judgment. no judgment whatsoever. This is tough. But the person with dementia, they're not storing conversations, memories, things like that, unlike we do. So if they don't remember, that's okay. We can tell them again. We can tell them again. I always try to avoid quizzing and things like that. Who's this person? Who's this person? And instead of just reminiscing or joining their reality. The same thing with that didn't happen. Their brain is just trying to fill gaps. So arguing doesn't help. We say, that sounds upsetting. You seem worried. I'm here with you. We're asked quite a bit, do we orient them to reality when they believe someone is still alive who has passed? I would say no. And I'd love to talk with anybody further. I'm working through that. That's a really, really tough one. But again, the goal being they feel safe, accepted, loved, valued. Go ahead and sit down. You did awesome. You don't have to say. Give him a hand, Max. You are awesome. So good.
Amen.
So I've approached, I've joined his reality, all of that. The next thing I'm going to do, and this is really where detective Matlock type work comes in. Everybody needs to watch the new Matlock. It's great. I want to discover the need. Because again, if challenging behaviors are communication of a need and they're not able to tell me, it's going to take detective work. Beyond what maybe they're able to tell us, beyond what I can see with my eyeballs or hear with what they're saying, I always go to the physical first. That is my first go-to. Are they in pain, hungry, tired, ill, thirsty? I go to those things first, particularly the pain. Because so many times pain they cannot communicate is the cause of behavior. Who would say when you're in pain, you are not your best self? I was sick from like Saturday night till, anyways, and I said to my sister, I am not a brave sick person. I'm just not, I was not my best self. Somebody with dementia could be in pain that they cannot communicate or have restroom needs. Very often the cause of behavior. I check emotional needs. Are they lonely? Are they afraid? Are they sad? Are they needing purpose? Which is can be a huge cause of behaviors. And then I go to the environment. Is the room too noisy, too cold, too confusing, too overstimulating? People with dementia can typically focus on and process one thing at a time. You think about that, just one. We can manage 10 sources of input and deal, especially now, because our culture is so da-da-da-da-da. Somebody with dementia, if there's more than one input in a room, they're going to struggle to focus. They may struggle to even eat. It can be really, really challenging. So I try to discover the need, and then I try to meet those needs. So I go to the physical first. I address potential pain issues. I will guide them to the restroom, just in case they need to go and can't tell me, just in case their brief needs to be tended to, just in case. I'll offer a snack and a beverage, just in case, because they may not be able to tell me. So I'm going to try to meet that need, just in case. Checking for any other discomfort, uncomfortable clothing that need to be repositioned, and I also check for, was there a change in medication recently? And our amazing nurses in healthcare can speak way better to that. But I'm checking for those physical needs first. And many times, when you meet those needs, the problem resolves. The problem resolves. The second thing I'm going to check is the environment. I'm going to stop the task if it's distressing the person. I would rather step back, let them reset, let myself reset, and try again. I might guide the person to another room. Sometimes a change of scenery is the best thing, the absolute best thing. Going for a walk can be so good, even if the person's in a wheelchair, a change of scenery. I'm going to make sure they're warm enough, they're comfortable enough, and that they're not being overstimulated. And then I try to meet the emotional need, comforting them, redirecting them. Who knows what I mean with the term? Who's heard the term redirecting? It's probably everybody has. It's a term that's been around forever. And I always just want to make sure that we don't try to redirect without meeting the need first. Because you think about that. Let's say that Max is sad. And I go, oh, well, here's a cookie, Max. Trying to redirect him to, because he loves, let's say you love cookies. I don't know, do you love cookies? Yeah, okay. Let's say he loves cookies. I go, well, here's a cookie. The problem is I haven't met that need. I haven't given him the opportunity to be sad, or I can comfort him and let him know that I'm on his side. He's still sad, he's just sad holding a cookie. He's still mad, he's just mad holding a cookie. So I think anytime we can meet the need before we redirect, but once we've met that need, trying to shift their attention to something else. And I always think of something to hold can shift attention, a therapy, pet, doll, there's a photo book, there's so many things. Something sensory, something warm, something to do. Purpose can be one of the most amazing things for somebody with dementia. And then something person-centered. What matters to them? Some people it might be prayers. Some people, there's a gentleman in one of the houses who used to tend horses. And he told me all about it. It was really, really cool down at the very end of the street. Super cool. And this is probably more for a professional care setting, when behaviors happen, I always think it's a great idea to document what could be a cause, and more importantly, what worked. What worked. Because if you find something as a caregiver or as a family member that works with the person, that's gold. Share it with the rest of the team. My goodness, that is pure gold. And also share what didn't work too. So I think ways that, we're getting close on time because I want to leave time for questions. Ways we can try to prevent behaviors, or we'll never totally prevent them, but lessen it. Keep a dementia-aware environment. One that's calm, one that's warm enough, that's not loud and chaotic, that it's hazard-free, that it's well-lit, that the emotional vibe is warm and kind and pleasant. Keeping good routines for physical needs. I think I go to a lot of places and physical needs are met very, very well. Here I've always seen it's amazing. Nutrition, hydration, restroom needs particularly. If we have a routine for their needs, their physical needs, behaviors are less likely to happen. Good communication and approach in the day-to-day. Not just during challenging behaviors, but using that good approach consistently. And then having opportunities for them to do the things they love, to talk about the things they love, to honor their history. Tell me about this. Dr. Tony, I've had the wonderful privilege of getting to know him and singing with him, honoring that. You're so good at that. You're so good at that. So I would love to take questions now, if that's okay. Oh, I'm just gonna go through here. And it could be related to behaviors, or it could be really anything. I would love to open up the floor because I think there's a wealth of knowledge and experience in this room, all of us as caregivers, and somebody may have a tool to help. So yeah, does anybody want to talk about a challenging behavior or truly anything? Yes.
You just,
You're good.
wandering.
Yeah.
Ways that.
Yeah. So, yeah, ways to prevent it or ways to respond in the moment.
Respond or reduce it, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm kind of in the camp with wandering. It's one of those things that I don't think is bad. You know, because I probably come at it from the perspective of, wow, that person's still able to walk. That's awesome. You know, I kind of come at it from that perspective. I get where the safety piece is. So I think it's a couple things. Readjusting our mindset to this person's normal may be to walk around all the time. That may be their normal, and that's okay. How can we do that safely? And it's so set up well here for that. I see residents going in and out and about, and they're all safe. It's just you don't see that other places. It's really cool. I think giving that person intentionally more opportunities to do that for a length of time. So let's say that Max is somebody that's always wanting to go. I might say, Max, let's go for a walk. And it may be more than the hallways. He might have this deep need to get out and see other things other than the four walls. So I'm gonna make more opportunities for Max to walk, to go out, to circle, to whatever, to get tired out. So that maybe he's willing to do that. And I think I would also, sometimes that wandering is the person with dementia trying to find their purpose again. Because you think about that. Probably all of us in this room, our whole lives, we have been productive, right? Like, I don't think any of us, we just woke up every day and just didn't do anything, right? So I think deeply within all of us is, I'm supposed to be doing something. Because I've done it my whole life. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not sitting right here. So it's, what am I supposed to be doing? So I think wandering is that base human looking for, I'm supposed to be somewhere doing something, I don't know what it is. You know, so I think the more we can increase purpose for that person is huge. So that would be a person I would be asking for help all the time. I would be creating and manufacturing situations for that person to help. I might get a bookcase and boxes of books and ask them to shelve it. Ask them to shelve it again the next day. Yeah, I think that's what I would do. Yeah.
I was just going to look at it from a little different perspective. A lot of times when you have a loved one that has dementia, you forget that you also have a life to live. Yeah. And you also need to get counseling if you need it, and stuff like that. I've seen too many people just throw their lives away into taking care of their loved ones and just fall down.
Yeah.
I think going to counseling is something people should think about.
Yeah.
Because it makes them stronger, be able to deal with everything that you just said.
Yeah. Yeah. Cliff, if you didn't hear Cliff, he was talking about the importance of counseling for caregivers. Because it is easy, as he said, to just wrap your whole life into the other person in dementia and all of it. And it's just not healthy, and it's not sustainable. It's just not sustainable. And so I think, like Cliff said, connecting to counseling, and that's not always easy, especially if you're a person that's like, I can handle it, I can deal. My mom, she used to say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well-intentioned, right? Well-intentioned. But this is not this is not something that's easy to navigate. It's a grief that's like no other. It's a stress that is like no other. And I think having a counselor where you can say all those things that you feel like you can't say to anybody else, a safe space there, and tools. How do I process this? What do I do with these feelings? What do I do with this stress? Finding a counselor. I know some that are wonderful with dementia caregivers. I'm sure Cliff has some as well. Bill has some as well. Some that accept Medicare. I mean, there's the ladies at the table here have options. Yeah, so please, you've got my number, Bill's. Anybody reach out privately, even if you don't want to talk about it in this setting. We will connect you and we will find a way to make it happen. Yeah, thank you, Cliff. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, this is crazy. When I brought Tony here about a year and a month ago, I was living in a big old house all by myself. People said, that's not good. I mean, I have a lot of friends and do a lot of things, but I was by myself so much. They said, you're gonna forget to talk to people. I said, how do you forget to talk to people? What you forget is timing, not interrupting. I mean, I couldn't believe that that was happening to me.
Wow.
I mean, it was strange, and now I have a lot of people to talk to. I mean, I was surprised that, I mean, they told me it would, but I mean.
I'm so glad you shared that. That's so interesting. That is so
Because
interesting.
we've been married for 65 years, and we could almost read each other's minds, you know, so it's.
Wow, are you with community now?
Yes, I'm at the Gatesworth.
Oh, yeah. I've heard really good things
Busy
about
every
it.
minute.
Yeah, I've heard that. If you want to be busy, go there. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
No, I was surprised, but it's true.
Wow, I'm so glad that you shared that. You've given me a lot to think about. That's amazing. Yeah,
Something I wanna say about that.
please,
too.
please, please, yes.
She's at the Gatesworth, but she has chosen to keep Tony here because of the care that he receives, and she's very happy. We just had this talk the other day, that her kids would like to get him closer, but the care here, she doesn't want to do that because she doesn't want to move him because of the care. he
That's
receives.
awesome.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I definitely, the care ratios here, they're very unique. I go everywhere and it's very unique here. It's very unique. Yeah. Anybody else? I see some care partners. I'm so glad you guys are here. Hi. So cool. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. And then Bill, did you want to talk about